Hey y'all, you're back. Hey flock enthusiasts, welcome back. It's the Chrissy O Show podcast episode, to clip or not to clip. We're talking about the great chicken wing debate today. So I am so excited that you guys are here. Welcome back, flock enthusiasts. You're all flock stars in my book. This is your podcast for all things backyard chicken, homestead, rural living, eastern North Carolina living, anything to do with floofs and fluffs in your backyard or your farm or homestead. I'm here for you, okay? Now, just in case you didn't catch the first part of it, yep, I'm your host. I'm Chrissy O, and today we've got that hot topic for chicken keepers. You know, everybody wants to talk about it. It's the pros and cons of clipping chicken wings. Now, it doesn't matter to me whether you got free-range feathered friends or a fenced-in flock. This particular episode is packed with insights to help you decide what's best for your birds. Now, you know me, I ain't going to tell you what to do. A lot of folks will get on here and say, oh, you got to do this. Oh, you got to do that. No, you don't. You ain't got to do none of that if you don't want to. It's your flock, your floofs, your birds, your decisions, because you're paying for them, you're raising them, and they're in your yard. I don't know your flock. You don't know my flock. So all I'm going to do is just give you some helpful insights to kind of decide to see whatever you feel like is best for your floofs. All right? And I want you to stick around for details on our brand new, exciting 1,500 YouTube subscriber giveaway coming up soon. And a shout out to our sister kids channel, Clucky Norris Studios. Okay? Now, let's get this thing started. All right, let's go ahead and set the stage for you. If you're raising chickens, you probably noticed they're not exactly eagles, okay? But some breeds can flap and fly way over fences, into your neighbor's yard, up in the trees. They can fly short distances, y'all. So there's a myth about that. People don't think your chickens can fly. Yeah, they can fly short distances, but they can fly. They got wings, you know. So this is kind of where the chicken clipping thing comes in, all right? So this is a practice where, and I do this for my flock, but it's a personal preference, okay? It's a practice where you trim the primary flight feathers on one or both wings to limit a chicken's ability to fly. That's all it is. We use it as a common management tool, but here we go again, it's not without controversy. So today, we're going to be breaking down the pros, the cons, and considerations for both free-ranging and fenced-in chickens. So we're going to start with why somebody might consider clipping their chickens' flight wings in the first place. All right, let's start. Why do we clip chicken wings? All right, why do we do it? Well, first of all, wing clipping, it's all about control and safety. Now, for free-ranging chickens, the ability to fly can lead to some trouble because some breeds like Bantams, Aracanas, Mediterranean types, they're all lightweight, and they can literally clear a 4-foot, even a 6-foot fence with a good old flap and some wings to get them chunky honeys up in the air, all right? Now, I've had a few escape artists myself, and they just looking at you like, you know, my little beautiful red star hen, Swirly Temple, you know, she just thought, hey, this out here looks like luscious, wonderful garden. It's going to be my personal buffet, not knowing that the woods has wooded creatures that would snack on her to pieces, all right? It happens. So clipping wings can prevent chickens from wandering into dangerous situations like roads, neighbors' yards, heavy traffic area, predator-heavy areas, or eating up your neighbor's prize rose bushes. Okay, we want to watch all these things. Now, for fenced-in flocks, wing clipping, it's often about just keeping your chickens contained, like I do for mine. Even like a 6-foot fence, it isn't always enough for a determined hen, but when I trim her primary feathers and those flight feathers, I just reduce the ability for them to gain lift. I keep them safe inside their run, safe inside the big chicken yard and the gym pop area. This is important because like in urban or suburban settings where escaping chickens might cause conflicts or run afoul of local laws, then you can do those types of wing clippings and you don't have to worry about that so much. So that's why we kind of clip chickens' wings. Hopefully that kind of helped you out a little bit. Now I'm going to hit you with a little factual tidbit right here, okay? So according to poultry experts, flight wing clipping involves trimming about 2/3 of the length of the first 10 primary flight feathers. It's just below the covert feathers. It's painless when you do it correctly. So as you're only cutting keratin, it's kind of like trimming your fingernails, all right? The thing of it is you've got to avoid blood feathers. Those are new growing feathers with a blood supply, and you can cut the wrong thing, hurt your chicken, they can bleed out. So it's identifiable, those blood feathers are identifiable by a pinkish or dark looking shaft. The plastic part, it looks plastic, it feels plastic, but it's the keratin part. So you should be able to see that. Think of it like when you disassemble an ink pen and you can see basically the ink in the ink pen, how much ink it is. Just picture that, except it's more has like a pinkish or a darkish red color to it. So just think of it that way. Now, you cut only the flight feathers that I just talked about, the ones that are painless, that with a sharp pair of clippers or scissors that you can use. Because if you accidentally cut into the blood supply and the blood feathers, cutting those, it's going to cause bleeding, stress. It can cause bleeding out issues. It can be painful. I always say, please look at them. Check it before you snip it. All right? Check it before you snip. Check it before you snip. That's all you got to do. Now, here's another perk, if you want to call it a perk or not. Clipping flight wings can basically protect your property because chickens love to scratch and forage, and an escapee that you have is just going to wreak havoc on your garden or your landscaping if you don't have them free ranging and they're going to places you don't need them to go. There's certain flowers that's poisonous and dangerous to chickens. You might not want them to go over there. So just for free ranging birds, like clipping limits their ranging ability. So it just keeps them closer to home, basically, because they know you've clipped their feathers. They've attempted to get their fat hiney off the ground. They can't do it. So they're just going to stick closer to your property and to your area that you want them to be in. Now, in fenced-in setups like I have, it just ensures that they stay out of areas I've designated to them as, hey, this is off limits, y'all. You can't have it. Like, you can't be on my porch and having a poo fest. I'm not going to have that, right? And you're not going to get in my greenhouse and eat whatever hasn't died or been eaten by the tree rats. You know, gotta love a squirrel. So there you go. That is clipping wings. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about, I said, pros and cons of clipping wings. So let's do a little bit of pros. So the benefits of clipping, because there's plenty, we got safety. That's the first thing. Now, for free-ranging chickens, clipped wings just reduce the risk of them wandering into predatory areas or predator-heavy territory. Hawks, foxes, neighborhood dogs, those can be real threats to your birds, okay? So if you keep your birds grounded, you're kind of making it harder for them to stray into harm's way unless you've got a smooth brain, noggin dinglehead like I have Bobby. You clip his wings, he don't know no better. That he's got a smooth brain. Bobby can't help it, and in fenced-in runs, clipping prevents, escapes. Like, that could expose chickens to ground predators like coyotes, raccoons, especially if your fence isn't predator-proof. You know what I mean? If it's predator-proof, you ain't got nothing to worry about. Now, here's a pro number 2, all right? It reduces property damage. Now, whether you're free-ranging, using a fenced run, clipped wings, kind of keeps chickens from flying into areas where they can scratch up gardens, poo all over your porches, your decks, annoy your neighbors. You know, I've heard some stories of chickens landing on cars and rooftops. You know what I mean? Good gosh. So clipping wings helps maintain peace with your neighbors and protects your outdoor spaces from unwanted floofs. Pro tip number 3, it's easier flock management. So if you clip the flight wings, it just makes chickens easier to catch for health checks, vaccinations, or moving them to a new coop. Can't catch them if they're trying to fly or fly up over your head. Now, free-ranging birds with full wings, let me tell you, they can be a nightmare to corral, especially if they're skittish. Now, in fenced-up setups and, big fenced areas like what I have, when I clip, it reduces the need for constant fence heightening. I don't have to worry about additional extra netting. It's just saving me some time and maybe a little bit of money, all right? Pro tip number 4, it's social harmony for me. Now, in some flocks, you got dominant chickens. They use their flight wings and their flight feathers just to bully others or escape conflicts. So clipping can be almost like leveling the playing field, like you're reducing aggression and promoting a calmer pecking order, basically. So this is especially true for free-ranging flocks where space disputes, they can get very, very heated. Now, for free-ranging chickens, clipping can be a game changer if you got like smaller property or live near hazard roads or tight, communities with a lot of neighbors. It lets your birds enjoy the benefits of free-ranging, like eating your bugs, finding grit. They'll produce tastier eggs for you, but it's without the risk of them flying too far. And then for the fenced-in chickens, clipping is awesome, because for me, it's a backup plan. Like if my fence ain't tall enough, or if you got a particularly flighty breed like some of mine are, it keeps them grounded just a little bit better. So those are some pros of wing clipping. Now we're going to go over the cons of clipping wings. So let's talk about it. So now let's flip the coin just a little bit. So clipping flight wings, it ain't all sunshine and feathers. There's some serious downsides to consider, okay? And we're going to go over that now. We're going to be fair about it, right? Here we go with some cons. Now, if you're depending on like your setup, what you have, there's just serious downsides to consider, especially, looking at your setup. All right? The biggest con, it limits a chicken's natural defenses. Now, in the wild, chickens use their wings to escape predators. They fly into trees, fly over obstacles. For free-ranging chickens, clipped wings can make them sitting ducks for ground predators like dogs, weasels, wherever you live that has predators that love chickens, because pretty much everything loves a chicken. So if you're in a rural area with high predator activity, it can be a major concern for flight wing clips. Now, con number 2. It's reduced natural behaviors. Because chickens use their wings for just more than flying, it helps with balance, mating, and roosting. If you clip one wing, which is common to throw off balance so they don't fly, it can make it harder for roosters to mount hens or for chickens to reach high roosts where they would tend to like to be. It can also lead to frustration. It can lead to injuries if they are overbalanced and they fall. For fenced-in chickens, it might not be such a huge issue if your run has low perches or no perches, but it is something to think about. I don't have any perches in my barn. Outside, I do have perches with platforms for this reason. They're not short perches. They are wide pieces of wide board. That way they won't fall because they do get off balance. Now, con number 3, stress and maintenance. So clipping, it ain't a one and done deal. Feathers grow back, okay? So after each molt, typically once a year for your adult chickens, more often for like young birds. So it means that you're just going to need to reclip regularly, which can stress out flighty chickens. So you got to watch that. If you got a skittish chicken that you're having to hem up in the corner to try to catch to do flight wings, it is what it is. Plus, so if you accidentally cut a blood feather, you're dealing with bleeding, a very unhappy hen. It hurts. It is painful, okay? Now, it's not hard to learn clipping flight wings, but it does take care and practice. You got to know what you're doing. It's more than just watching a YouTube video thinking you can go out there and clip the whole flock. Nope, doesn't work like that. You need practice, and you need to take extra special precautions and care. And also have things on hand in case you accidentally do clip a blood wing. Because you got to be able to stop the bleeding. You got to prevent infection. And you got to, also worry about, hey, I just made this chicken super pissed off with me. It's so mad right now. So you got to worry about that, because if you come at them again and they see the clippers or the scissors, they're like, oh no, chicken tender's after me again. So you got to be careful of that too. Con number 4, it's not foolproof. Okay, some chickens, they're just too determined. Chicken's gonna chicken and do chicken stuff. All right. Now I've heard of hens and different types of hens. I've got one that Ricky that's developed like a hopping flapping combo to clear fences, even with the clipped wings. Okay, so you're going to hear them, you're going to see them, all kinds of stuff. So for both free ranging and fence setups, you might still need tall fences or netting just to pin in your escape artists, just to keep them contained. Alrighty. For free range chickens, the predator risk, it's the biggest drawback. So if you're letting your birds roam a large property with no fence, clipping can make them more vulnerable. In fenced runs, the cons are less severe, but you still need to weigh whether flight wing clipping is worth the effort versus upgrading your enclosure. Speaking of which, we're going to talk about alternatives to clipping. Told you. We were going to do all types of stuff so you can make the best decision for yourself and for your own flock. You're going to clip it. You're not going to clip it. Here's some alternatives, okay? So if clipping don't feel right for you, there's other ways to keep your chickens where they belong. So you can do fenced-in flocks with taller fences around 6 to 8 feet. Those are often tall enough that they will deter most breeds, especially if you have an escape artist in one of those breeds or your flock there. Also, you can use lightweight netting or covered runs, just add a little bit of extra security, especially against the aerial predators like hawks. Hawks will look in on, especially in my yard, they'll look in on mine. They're like, ooh, yummy. Look at all these chicken nuggets out here. So you just want to make sure that you use some netting. Now, I do have a friend that just swears by electric poultry netting for the free-ranging flock because it's portable and it keeps both chickens and predators out. I mean, what's the worst that can happen? They can get a little zap, a little shocky shock, whatever. It just keeps them out, burns them enough and pops them enough to where they're like, yep, I shouldn't do that again. Now you got another option, which is called brailing. That's where you use a soft cord where you can bind one wing so it can't open it. It's temporary, it's painless if it's done right, and it's great for young chickens that'll grow too heavy to fly if you feed them right, and it's that type of breed. But it's time consuming. It's got to have regular checking to avoid circulation issues. I have never done brailing before. For me, it's not a good choice. But some people have done it, so you might want to check into that if that's an option for you. There's also behavioral training. It's another non-invasive approach because chickens are chickens. They do chicken things. They are creatures of habit, just like us. You can use treats, mealworms, snackies, and just routines. You can train free-ranging birds. They can stay close to the coop or return at night by using treats and snackies. Now, for fenced-in flocks, What I do is I remove things that could potentially be like a launch pad, like compost heaps or low branches or anything that can stop them from getting a running start to jump on and catapult themselves over the fence or somewhere they don't need to be, like in another yard or something. So the methods, they just take patience like anything else, but that can also reduce the need for clipping if you don't have things in there that can catapult them into wherever they want to be. Because if you don't think a chicken can jump up and grab a limb and fling themselves over, they're quite the Cirque du Soleil artist, let me tell you. Now, here's another factual tidbit. Heavier breeds like Orpingtons, Silkies, or Wyandottes, they rarely need clipping because their wings can't lift their big old fat chunky bodies. Lighter breeds that you have to look at are like Bantams or Leghorns. Those are the ones I tend to watch because if you've got like a mixed flock like I do, you might only need to clip certain troublemakers. So there's an option for you as well. Doesn't mean you have to clip the whole flock. I don't. There's some that I just got some chunky mamas with some fluffy booties, and I know they ain't getting up off the ground. You know what I mean? So there you go. Now we've got free-ranging versus fenced-in considerations. So let's talk about some specifics for free-ranging versus fenced-in setups. Now you got free-ranging chickens. They get to live their best lives, scratching for bugs, dust bathing, producing nutrient-rich eggs. But without clipping, they can wander into trouble. So clipping is ideal for smaller properties or areas with nearby hazards, but you'll still need to ensure your coop is like predator-proof at night since clipping wings reduces escape options. So if predators are a big issue, free-ranging might not be safe, clipped or not, unless you've got like a secure run for daytime use, okay? Fenced-in chickens are easier to manage with clipping because you're already controlling their environment. It's all about control, okay? So a 4-foot fence might need, clipping for flighty breeds, but like 6 to 8 foot fence, it mostly will do the trick without it. The downside is fenced runs can feel a little restrictive, so you got to provide them enrichment like perches, dust baths, treats, just to keep them happy, which we do. If you watch any of my stuff on YouTube on Chrissy O's Clucky Chronicles, we have snackies that we feed 3 times a day. They do breakfast snackies, lunch snackies, and before bedtime snackies, and they love it. And we have toys and things out there for them to play with or stuff that they like. Plus a little kiddie pool with diatomaceous earth and sand, clean sand in there for them to do their dirt baths, okay? So clipping, it's just more about convenience and preventing escapes, this whatever. It's life or death or safety, ever how you want to put it. So now here's my take. If you're free-ranging in low predator areas with like a small yard, clipping can be a great tool. It's fine. For fenced-in flocks, you can upgrade your enclosure and use clipping as a last resort for those persistent escapees, so you can pick and choose, right? Every flock is different. It's all about finding what works for your setup, okay? If you don't have anybody escaping and they're pretty happy where they're at, then you don't have to clip. I haven't clipped anybody this year, because I haven't had anybody that decided they wanted to get away. They love their place that good. So you kind of got to weigh out your pros and cons. What's going to work for you, what's not going to work for you, right? Okay, so let's wrap this little bad boy up. But I will say, before we wrap it up, I got some really good, fun, exciting news, okay? We're closing in on 1,500 YouTube subscribers. And I want to celebrate. So I'm going to be hosting a giveaway. So what I'm going to do is the winners, which will be a lot. You guys are going to get a fantastic chicken raising guidebook. Okay. It's not a large book. It's like a guide. It's going to be maybe 50 pages, maybe. Okay. And what it's going to do is it's going to have everything from hatching your eggs to putting your chicks in a brooder to raising your chickens. just a simple PDF guide of 50 pages, like a little guidebook for you, okay? So now the deadline's going to be as soon as we hit 1,500 subscribers on the YouTube channel. You got to go over and make sure you're subscribed, number one, to Chrissy O's Clucky Chronicles. But you got to go over to get it by signing up for the email list on the website at chrissyoshow.com. That's how I'm going to get it to you. I only do emails monthly, so I send out one email monthly, and that happens to be the newsletter, because I don't like spamming my own email, so I'm certainly not going to send you guys any spam or do anything crazy like that. So if you sign up for the email list, once we hit that 1,500 subscribers, you're going to get the newsletter, and you're going to get the free downloadable PDF for your guide to raising your chickens and chicken keeping, okay? Also, I want to say a big shout out to our sister channel. It's a kids channel called Clucky Studios. So yeah, we did that. It's packed with tons of fun. It's got educational animal videos. It's just perfect for young flock fans who want to sing, dance, and learn a little bit about animals. So just check it out on YouTube and find it over there and subscribe to that. It's the Clucky Studios. I mean, my kids love it, so I assume your kids would love it too. All right, now, so here's the deal. Should you clip your chicken's wings or not? I don't know. It depends on what you want. What are your goals? What do you want to do? What do you feel comfortable doing? So I know for me, clipping has been a safe, effective way to keep my birds either free ranging or fenced in, contained, whatever. They're on my property, and it helps me manage my flock. But it comes with trade-offs too, so you got to think about that. Like reduced predator defense, the need for regular maintenance. There's different types of alternatives we talked about. Taller fences, netting, training, just so many things can work for you. So my advice to you would be just assess your setup. You know your flock. I don't know your flock. You know what breeds are flighty, skittish, and crazy, and they just do whatever they want to do. Just prioritize your flock safety and happiness. That's all you got to do. That's all you have to do. Do you, boo? That's all. That's it. Do whatever you think is going to make your chickens happiest and safest. So, as always, I'd love to hear from y'all. So, if you clipped your chicken's wings or do you have a foolproof fencing system, just drop a comment here on the YouTube channel, or you can email me via chrissyoshow.com and let me know. If you're new to chicken keeping, don't clip until your birds are at least 10 to 12 weeks old, just to avoid damaging fragile new wings, okay? That's my tip, okay? So, that's all for today's episode of the Chrissy O Show, Chrissy O's Clucky Chronicles. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe, enter the giveaway, check out the Clucky Studios Kids channel. Keep your coops clean, keep your chickens clucking, and until next time, babies, if you can't be good at it.